finished The Bright Places. And while I'm so pissed that they missed so many fucking things, I can't stop crying. Like, I don't know. I just don't know. I mean, I'm really, really pissed that they missed so many things. Like the bell tower, so many things, but somehow I cannot stop crying. I don't know why.
Oopsies!
So I did finish the movie and I have some thoughts, so stay tuned. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I hope you're all doing good. I for sure don't. I just finished watching All the Bright Places on Netflix and my emotions right now are not the best because of two reasons. One, that movie fucked me up, just like the book. And second, I am pissed. Like, seriously pissed. You're asking probably, why are you emotional and why are you pissed? Well, I'm gonna tell you. So, I just want to put out here, there might be trigger content in here, so if you very easily get triggered by the words around suicide and depression, then you probably should not watch this video, because I kind of get into details that might be not good for you. So if you don't want to hear that, please click off right now. So yeah, it follows two teenagers. One of them is highly suicidal, and if you have read the book, you know how it's going to end. Another thing, I'm gonna spoiler, so if you have not watched the movie or not read the book, you should click off too now, because I'm gonna spoiler the frick out of it. I did make some notes while watching the movie, because sometimes it got really boring, like. So I would say we start with the review now. So listen. The movie wasn't even on for 1 minute and it already pissed me off, because if you remember how Finch and Violet met in the book, that was on the bell tower from the school. And how did they met in the movie? They met on a fucking bridge. Why? Generally, I asking why, because the bell tower is such a great symbol. Like, so many things happened on that bell tower, kinda. That's where the story starts, and it is so freaking important actually to the story. But the directors and Jennifer, apparently, because she wrote the screenplay, thought, hey, just not include that, because why should we? Yeah, that's not important, we can let that out. No, you can't, because it's freaking important to the story. That's where Finch and Violet met. That's basically how the whole story's involved. After that, Violet gets in trouble because she was on the bell tower, because people thought she wanted to kill herself. Like, they had an audience, so that's why she had to go to therapy as well, and that's why Finch actually started to get interested in her. And I don't know, in the movie it was like kinda, hey, you wanted to jump, like, don't do that, that's actually not cool, so no, let's not do that. But on the bell tower, there's so many things they talk about, and yeah, I just felt very robbed when not even in 1 minute into the movie and they already fucked up probably the whole plot. Because like I said, this bell tower, that is so important to the story, but yeah, they didn't think it is important, so let's move on. The next fucking thing actually is how Finch and Violet like met. It was very underwhelming, it was nothing special, and so continued their relationship. There were many things missing. It felt very rushed. Like at one time they stood on the bridge and Finch like said don't jump, and the next second they are totally in love. And I don't know, I kinda missed like those little things that made their relationship even happen. Like they just visit 1 or 2 places and she was already falling in love with him, and their relationship was like growing over time, and that did not happen in the movie. It was like boom, you're in love. And we don't get like how they interact on social media, because that's where they friends to lovers thing actually started, and we didn't get that. So we didn't got a lot of insights that actually makes it relatable to the character, and that actually makes you understand why they falling for each other. Like you basically have no good reason why they should fall in love, besides they wandering these places, and just one day she thought, oh, he seems nice, I probably gonna fall in love with him, so let's just do that. And it just don't sit right with me. The only character or actor who was good in this movie was Justice Smith. Like he carried the whole movie on his back. Justice Smith was surprisingly good. Like when he first got casted, I was very concerned that it's not going to be so good, but he really surprised me, and I think he was the perfect Finch, because he had so little things. Like the story didn't evolve around him like very much, which pisses me off too, but we're gonna get there in a minute. But with the little thing he had, he actually delivered. As soon as he was Finch, as soon as you saw him in the movie, he was spot on. Like he's perfect Finch. I take everything back what I said when he first got casted, because he carried that whole fucking thing on his fucking back. So thank you for that. Another point that I just pointed out was that the story evolves more around Violet than it evolves around Finch, and I didn't like that. Because if you have read the book, we really get into Finch's mind. Like we get why he is this fucked up, we get why he has these days where he stays awake and the other days where he's falling back to sleep. Like that's what he refers to. The days he stays awake are the days that are good to him, and the days he's sleeping, he is in this dark place again. And it happens through the story, it happens more that from being asleep to being awake for a moment and kind of falling back to sleep again. And I didn't got that in a movie. Like it was just like happy Finch, and suddenly he was sad. I mean, sure, we get hints, but if you don't know the book, you don't know that these are hints. If you understand what I mean? Like in the very beginning, he says things that if you have read the book makes sense, and you know, oh shit, he's gonna kill himself. But if you have not read the book, you probably don't get that hint, and that is really sad. And another thing is his whole character was just kind of like putting into a side character when he should actually be the story, because it is his story. He is the one that should be in the focus, but he wasn't, and that pisses me off too. As you can see, a lot of things pisses me off, but yeah. The story evolves more around Violet instead of Finch, which I think really sucks, because I think Jennifer wanted to raise awareness around depression and suicide, and yeah, we did not get that in the movie. Like, she did such a good job in the books, but not in the movie. Other people who have read the book can probably agree that they, or most of them, relate to this book because of Finch. And to see that he gets downgraded as a kind of side character fucking sucks. Let's be honest, it sucks really bad. Do I hate that? Because Violet is not as interesting. She wasn't really interesting in the books, she wasn't really interesting in the movie. And you had a really big character. You missed an opportunity, a really good one at that. So I have nothing against Violet, she's just very boring. So I really didn't understand the choice to make Violet like the main priority in the movie instead of Finch. We didn't get much of Finch's story as well. Like, we didn't get really how he got that scar. Like, he had a scar on his stomach, I guess, that was because his father was abusive towards him and his sister, and it just got briefly mentioned in the movie, which should actually be a main priority as well, because that's another big thing in the book. And yeah, we didn't got that family dinner that he had with his father. I mean, I get you can not include everything from a book to the movie, but these are really important things. Like, I had the feeling that they took the small things and put them on screen instead of the really big things that actually would make sense to the story. And I don't know, I just feel very disappointed about that. Yes, I'm disappointed. And another big thing that really pisses me off was, first, the scene that we see in the movie where Finch gets back home, grabs the things out of his closet and pushes his mattress in the closet so he can sleep in that. Why didn't they explain that? Why did you not explain that? For anyone who did not read the book, they don't know why he did that. They don't get into his mind because no one explains shit. And the reason why Finch is doing that is because it kinda was his safe space, this closet. He actually lived in that closet. And you had the feeling that this is not important to mention? What? Seriously? Like, Jennifer, you wrote the screenplay. You wrote that book. You don't think that is important? Because I for sure do think it's important. And I don't know. Also, that they seem to make that Violet's parents actually get along with Finch, which is not the case in the books. Because Finch makes her skipping school, he brought her home very late. They thought he was a bad influence, and you don't see that in the movie. But the biggest fucked up that they could have done, which I was so afraid for, and they actually did it, was to make Finch suicide like a tragic accident. Because if you have read the book, here we once again, Finch disappears for a while and comes back, and after the fight that he and Violet had, he disappeared again. And yeah, then we come to the scene where Violet goes to the blue hole and discovered that Finch is gone, right? That's the scene where I cried. That's why I was emotional, okay? Quick backstory to that. Finch actually prepared his death so well, I would say, because he wrote emails where he said he's gone. He prepared the last wandering for Violet, like he left clues everywhere where she had to go. And the most biggest thing that actually shows you that Finch was not overreacting, or it was like a snap situation, that he really prepared it, was that he was folding his clothes, and that did not happen in the movie. In the movie, his clothing was everywhere, like spread around that rock, but in the book it was folded, like he knew that he's going to drown himself. Where was it in the movie? That is like the biggest sign that actually showed you that Finch was planning it. He already had set his mind, and they fucked it up. Just simple, they fucked it up, and I'm fucking pissed about that. Because, like I said, they made it look like another teenager overreacted, and it was kind of an accident. I really don't know how you can fuck that up so badly. You had literally just one job, and that was portraying Finch as someone who is really deep into shit. Finch is diagnosed as bipolar, and that means that you actually have like really heavy mood swings, but once again we did not see that in the movie. So I don't know, if you make a movie about mental health issues, you should actually include warning signs that someone is depressed or suicidal. That's the job you have when you make a movie about mental health. And Finch actually showed these signs very well in the books, but not in the movie. And that sucks, because once again we had a really good book that actually explains how mental health at least works a little, and you screwed that up in the movie, and that is simply not right. Because like I said, I have the feeling it is your job to educate people how you can recognize that someone is suicidal, depressed, or has other mental health issues. And that did not happen, and I actually wished for it to happen. Like, I think the biggest mistake was to downgrade Finch into a side character and make all these things about Violet. I mean, from both of them, sure, they both had trauma, like both were really depressed, but compared to Finch, who actually represents a lot of teenagers who are struggling, you miss that opportunity to show them they are not alone. There are opportunities to get better, and to educate parents how they can recognize if their children are depressed or not. I'm just overall not happy with the movie. Like I said, I'm a huge fan of the book. The movie ain't it. I don't know what else to say. I think my rant is over. I mean, my last thoughts are, the movie was okay. I liked how Elle and Justice portrayed Finch and Violet, but it didn't felt like an All the Bright Places movie. And another thing, Netflix, before I forget it, put a fucking trigger warning for people who probably struggling through that movie or series. Just put a fucking trigger warning on. Just do it, because here in Germany we did not have a trigger warning, and if people had a trigger warning, it looked like this. And that is not a trigger warning. That is nothing. Like, at the end, they said, this film is dedicated to people who have struggled through mental health, blah, blah, blah. Sure, you know? Why don't you put that up before the movie? Why? Why didn't you put that up before the fucking movie begins? It's your responsibility to put a trigger warning on the screen for people who might get triggered. We had that conversation when 30 Reasons Why was first released, and we still have that conversation. To say suicidal and language in such a small space that no one fucking noticed ain't a trigger warning. A trigger warning should be on the screen with big letters, at least for, I don't know, 10-15 seconds at least. That's your job. So put a trigger warning on your fucking content if it's triggering. That's all I'm asking for. Last thoughts. Movie, okay. If you haven't read the book, you probably think it's good. If you have read the book, you get disappointed. And that's coming from a hardcore fan. So that's all I'm gonna say now. I just end this video here. I hope I made sense in that video, at least a little bit. I know it was just more of a rant than a review, but yes, that's just how it. And yeah, we see you.